Nairobi gubernatorial seat, but one candidate was not in that debate, and that is the independent candidate Geoffrey Wanyoike, who now joins us live on Weekend Express. Many thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Michelle, for having me.
Thank you for joining us. You're among the candidates looking to unseat Dr. Evans Kidero. Let's begin there.
Yes.
Why are you looking to unseat Dr. Evans Kidero?
Yeah, why I'm standing for the governor of Nairobi is because when I looked at what the other candidates have to offer or what they're offering, I felt that they are not offering what the Nairobi people deserves. Mm-hmm. That including the incumbent, Dr. Evan Kidero, the other candidate from the other parties, that is Jubilee, Michael Sonko, mm-hmm. and independent, Peter Kenneth, as well as Miguna.
Right.
Miguna. And I felt that what they are offering to the people of Nairobi is not what the people of Nairobi deserves. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, the media has not treated the other candidates fairly. They have not given them the forum to present their agenda, ideas, policies, and programs to the people of Nairobi. Mm-hmm. And you can see what happened with the debate that was held for Nairobi governorship. Only 4 candidates were invited. And that means that the people of Nairobi were not given the full spectrum of the ideas that others
can bring to the table. Well, yes. Let's focus on that now, because I'm sure you've seen what the other 4 candidates had to offer in terms of their pledges and promises for the people of Nairobi. And you, of course, have several pledges to offer. So what are your 3 key pledges for Nairobians should you be elected?
Yeah, I would start by saying that the main problem that Nairobi County has is corruption by cartels, mm-hmm. and financial mismanagement. Because of those 2 problems, the resources that Nairobi County has, or should be used to provide services to the people of Nairobi, are wasted and are stolen by thieves, mm-hmm. and that's why we don't have enough services to provide it to the people of Nairobi. And because of that, if you look at the revenue or the income that the resources that Nairobi County should have, people estimate that about more than 50% is either stolen by cartels or lost through revenue collections. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm coming to bring to the county of Nairobi, to ensure that all the resources that should be available to the people, to the county of Nairobi, are taken care of.
How are you going to do that? Because this is also something that all the other 4 candidates touched on. Yes. Many of them promising that corruption will be a thing of the past should they be re-elected. So what is your strategy to achieve a 0 corruption rate in Nairobi County?
Just to mention about what they said, when they say that they are going to address corruption, they have been there. They have been the current governor has been in the county government for the last 4.5 years. He has not addressed that corruption. Michael Sonko has been a senator. He has not addressed those issues of corruption because he was supposed to oversight the county government. Mm-hmm. In my case, I must say that I am a financial management expert. I have worked as an senior executive financial management mm-hmm. manager in Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa. So when I say that I'm going to deal with the corruption and improve financial management in the county government, I know what I'm saying. The way I will address that is that, for example, if you look at the revenue collections, the Auditor General's report for the Nairobi County said that the money collected by the county government is put in private accounts mm-hmm. first. Mm-hmm. And nobody knows how much money is collected. And because of that, nobody knows how much money is stolen or lost.
Right.
And you recall that some times back, one official was said to have deposited 200 million in his personal account in 3 months. Mm-hmm. We don't know how much other officials might have deposited or stolen or misappropriated in the county. Given that one case, that tells you a lot of revenue is lost. And the Auditor General report is evidence of that. He said that the county government could not account for 20 billion revenue collected for the county. And that's only he only talked about what could be seen. You can imagine how much revenue is lost from the junior employees to the top.
To the high, and most of it has been blamed on cartels. I mean, even incumbent Dr. Evans Kidero during that debate blamed most of the corruption issues in the country, or in the county rather, on cartels. So what is it that they couldn't do in power that you can do to dismantle those cartels?
I think it is dishonest of the current governor to say that he can't deal with the cartels, because he is in charge. So when you are in charge, you can't say you can't do the job. If you can't do the job, then what are you doing in the job? If you are incapable of doing the job, then you should say that I can't do the job, and you walk out of the job. So according to me, he's dishonest to say that he can't deal with the cartel, because these cartels are individuals, and he is in charge of the county government. He has his executive cabinet. He has his people working for him, and he should ensure that those people do the work that they are supposed to do. For example, if it's an issue of, say, tendering for a project, he should ensure that the right procedures are followed. No cartels or people from cartels influence those tendering, and ensure that the people of Nairobi get value for money. In my case, one of the things that I'm going to do, when I'm implementing any project, I'll ensure that the implementation is very transparent. I will publicize the project. I will publicize how the procurement was done, and I will publicize the cost, so that even the people of Nairobi can tell for themselves whether what we have done or what I've done in my county government has given them value for money.
Right. And just focusing a bit more on your campaign and your manner of campaigning, do you think that your campaign strategy has sort of identified with the Kenyan or the Nairobian voter on the ground? Do they identify with your manifesto? Can they, point out your name as soon as they hear one of the projects that you've done for them to benefit them in terms of your track record?
Yeah, we have done our best, but we have had many constraints. Of course, we don't have as much resources being an independent candidate as the other candidates, and that is a constraint because, as you know, I would say that some of the other candidates, we don't have much resources because we have not looted anybody's money. So we are not spending so much. We don't have billboards all over the place because we can't afford that. But I would say that the people, because we are doing door-to-door campaigns. When the people we talk to, and we tell them what we want to do, we tell them what is happening in the county, we tell them why they can't get the service that they deserve, we tell them how the money that the county, the resources that the county has been looted by the officials, cartels. They understand, and they agree with what we are doing, and we are sure that they are going to vote for us.
Right. I want us to get into how an independent candidate, how it would work if an independent candidate would run Nairobi County as the governor. But before that, one of the key issues in Nairobi is also security, especially in areas of Kamukunji, the likes of Isili, the likes of Kariobangi. We've seen the rise of young gangs recently. And this, of course, just brings us to light on the fact that just yesterday the country lost the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Joseph Wanyoike. Let's just take a moment and hear your thoughts on his passing.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. We lost General Kaiseri, the Minister of Interior. I would like to send my condolences to the family and to the people of Kenya for the loss, given that it was a sudden loss. And I would say I don't know him very well. I have not worked with him closely, but from what I have observed, how he has done his work, he has been a very diligent minister. He has been one of the best. When he took over the security docket, the security in the country increased, and you could see whatever he said, he was very firm. and the country was relying on his expertise. So it is a big loss to the country. And we hope that those who have been given the responsibility to take over from where he left will continue with his work.
But of course, that now brings us to the security issue in Nairobi County. How would you deal with that, especially in terms of the war on terror, in terms of radicalization of the youth and the rise of young gangs?
I would start by saying that the security docket under the new constitution is under the national government, but of course the county government has a big role to play. So we will need to work with the national government, especially the Ministry of Internal Security, because the resources, for example, the intelligence agencies, the police, all are under the ministry, the national government. But the county government is the one on the ground. It's the one dealing with the people. So we'll need to work together. And one of the things is to make sure that the youth, those who can be susceptible to radicalization, are kept busy, because the problem we have in the country is the poverty, unemployment, and that problem is the one which makes the youth susceptible to radicalization. So we'll need to work with the national government to deal with that. My county government will set up a fund to help the youth establish businesses, as well as to help the youth with talents, to develop their talents. You know, I'm sure right now we don't have the kind of incentive or promotion that were being done in previous years, either in boxing, football, art. We will have a fund, and we will ask any youth with talents to come to our county government, and we will ensure that we provide the resources to help the individual develop the talent.
But we already have several funds in place. I mean, look at the likes of the Uwezo Fund. We have the Youth Fund. In terms of capitalizing on these funds that are already on the ground, because involving another fund is then, meaning pushing more funds to youth kitties, and we have more and more youth kitties that are not being fully utilized.
I would say the Uwezo Fund is under the Ministry of, is under the national government. What I'm talking about is what the county government will set up.
Right.
And it will be different, it will be focused. Of course, it is not going to be able to handle all the requirements that for all the youth in the county. But what I'm saying, right now in Nairobi, we could be having youth that could become champions, boxing champion, football champion, or in art. But because they don't have resources, they don't have anybody to help them, the talent just dies.
Right,
yeah.
All right. And of course, traffic jam is one of the biggest menaces, especially in Nairobi County. You say you have a financial background, you're a financial expert. Traffic jams cost the country millions of shillings in GDP. I mean, for the GDP every year. How are you planning to solve this issue?
Yeah, you're right that we have a big problem in traffic jams, lost productivity. People spend hours and hours in traffic jam, and they consume a lot of fuel that is not productive. What my county government will do is to drastically reduce the traffic jam. And how are we going to do that? We are going to do that by, first of all, we are looking at additional exit route from the town center, and we know we can have them. In addition to that, we will build additional lanes in junctions to make sure that the traffic flow is smooth, especially people turning right or left should not wait for the people going straight to move. If we had additional lanes on junctions, and that's what we are going to do. In addition to that, we will make sure that 70% of the matatus do not enter the central business district. And the way we are going to do that is we are going to provide facilities and incentive for matatus to terminate their journeys outside the city center. We will provide transport to those to where the matatus terminate their business, their trips, and we believe that that will be beneficial to matatus, because right now, if you look at the matatus, for example, picking passengers during peak hours on Mombasa Road, matatus, we estimate they will spend between 1 hour and a half and 2 hours. And if you are to make sure that the matatu doesn't spend that time going to the CBD and pick passengers outside the CBD, the matatu will make more trip, they will make more money. And in addition to that, we will work with the relevant agencies to make sure that we build the right rails to take the passengers to the terminals where the matatu will be picking passengers. And we have a financing plan for that. We believe that that right railway will be self-funding. The contribution of the county government will be just a proportion, because even if you are to charge very minimal fare from the town center to where the right rails ends, that will generate cash flows.
Right, and of course, it probably go to solving traffic jams in the country.
Yes.
So those are some of the key pledges you have for the residents of Nairobi County. But of course, you're running as an independent candidate. Why did you decide to run as an independent?
One, I must say that I'm an original independent candidate. I'm not those kind.
One of the aggrieved from the party primaries.
Who became independent when they felt that the nomination process was bungled in their parties. I was originally an independent candidate. And why did I choose to be an independent candidate? Because I felt that the current political formation in the country does not provide space for people with ideas and who are not part of the party machinery, and which is controlled by cartels. So I felt that I believe not only me, there are very many people with good ideas in Nairobi who can come and make Nairobi provide better services for all the people than all the other countries we are seeing.
All right.
So that was the main motivation, because I felt there was no space, and I felt that I had ideas that I can bring to the table, and I have had ideas and agenda that is far much better than the other candidates.
So why the position of governor and not any other position? Member of parliament, senator, why governor particularly?
Because I felt that I feel that the position of governor is an executive position that has resources, and if the resources are properly used, they can help uplift the lives of people, or they can improve the lives of people of the Nairobi. And that's why I felt the right position for me was the governor position. And as I said, I have worked in many countries in Africa. I worked over 10 years in South Africa. I actually was involved in raising funding for the city of Johannesburg, working with other consultants for the infrastructure project that it was undertaking before the 2010 World Cup. And I felt that I have ideas that can help improve Nairobi.
Right.
I also participated in, when I was working in South Africa, I was in charge of rating board issued by state in Nigeria. And some of the boards that I was involved in rating were raising funding to finance infrastructure projects in state and cities in Nigeria.
Right, so it's good experience that you've had in your past years working. But even as we speak, you're an independent candidate. It is just 29 days to the general election, and several issues still linger, both for the electorate and the candidates who are contesting for the August 8th general elections. And one of those is preparedness of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And we've had two major rulings, or at least one major ruling this week by IBC and by the court, that the ballot printing will be done by a different firm. Your thoughts, first of all, on the entire ballot printing tender in terms of credibility, in terms of transparency, and just overall preparedness of the IBC?
Well, I can't talk of the preparedness of IBC because they're the one doing the work. But, Michelle, I think it's good you have raised that issue because I issued a press statement on 22nd June related on the same issue. And after observing the stalemate that was on the printing of the ballot papers, and after observing that the main parties in the elections had taken very hard position, and my press statement in session, what he said is what the High Court ended up it was in line with the High Court ruling, because I had said that in my press statement that you see, you notice that the contention on the printing of ballot papers was mainly in the presidential ballot papers. Right. No governor, no senator, no MP, no women rep, no MCA had any issue with the printing. So what I had recommended in the proposed and recommended in the press statement was that the IBC should have undertaken to start the procurement of the presidential ballot papers, because that was the main contention. But unfortunately, even the media did not pick my proposal and recommendation. But the High Court has ended up issuing judgment in line with what I had proposed.
And of course, one of the other issues that the IBC is dealing with is the auditing or the cleaning of the voters' register before the August 8th general elections. Just a week after the IBC mentioned that they had cleaned the voters' register and removed about 88,000 dead voters, we had a lot of viral pictures on social media of people saying that their dead relatives and their dead friends were still on the voters' register. Is this an issue of concern to you as an independent candidate?
It is an issue of concern because if the register is not accurate, it can bring problem. But you have to understand that it is not possible for IBC to remove dead voters completely from the register. One thing that the registration of death is not synchronized with the voters register. Right. So it's not possible for them to clean completely or to remove dead voters from the register. But what I feel they should do is to make sure that they remove as many as possible, so that the register is as clean as possible. But given the time they have, and given the system we have currently, it is not possible for them to do that. Right. But going forward, what we should do is to make sure that deaths are properly registered and synchronized, so that this can move. It will also be doing that is important for national planning, because the country need to know the mortality levels and why people are dying, and make sure that they have the correct population figures. And I guess that's what happens in developed countries.
Nations. All right, I'm just about to wind up. Let's have your final comments for the residents of Nairobi. You are running for the governorship position, 29 days to go. And of course, you're running as an independent, but against very strong characters. Your campaign strategy, like you said, is going door to door. Yes. Do you think that is working for you?
I would say it's working, but as I said, has constraint because you can't cover all the Nairobi is big. The problem we have had, as I said before about the debate, is that the media, I would say that they have not given the other candidates a forum to present the agenda, as evidenced by the debate. Right now, sometimes when I go to talk to candidates, they say they are only seeing four candidates. What is the problem? So it's as if the media is campaigning against the other candidates.
But you are here, to be fair. You are here on this platform.
Yes.
Right. So your final words for the residents of Nairobi.
My final word is that I would like to request the people of Nairobi to critically look at the agenda the ideas and the programs being offered by the other candidates and assess whether that's what they deserve. Because I believe that's not what they deserve. I want to tell the people of Nairobi, I will have a government, a county government that is accountable, a county government of integrity, a county government that will ensure that all the resources that the county that should belong to the county government are protected. There's no wastage. I'll ensure that my government will ensure that there is proper financial management to ensure that the resources are used to provide services for the people of Nairobi. Right now, the resources, more than 50% of the resources of the country are wasted. They are not going to provide services to the people of Nairobi. And my government will ensure that the resources are protected by eliminating corruption, by improving financial management, to make sure that we have resources to provide health services, garbage collections, build markets. And
improve the lives of the residents of Nairobi. All right, thank you very much. That is the independent candidate, Geoffrey Wanyoike, who is running for the Nairobi gubernatorial seat. And of course, outlining his manifesto there for the residents of Nairobi. And that brings us to a break here on Weekend Express. Do stay with us. More news making headlines coming up after the break.
Thank you.
This is KTN News.